Hello. I just have to start with a really whispered hello. When was the last time I started without whispering?
When's the last time you did a show without whispering?
I don't think I can do that. I think that you're asking too much of me already.
It is there. The comparison between you and Pillow Talk is very real.
Woo. So, welcome to the R.A.M show. You're listening to 89.5 WAHS Auburn Hills. This is episode 12. Because the last time we were on air, we thought it was episode 10, but that was my mistake. Because I went and I looked in the library for whenever I don't know what number it is, I just look at the most recent one that we've done. And the most recent one was 9. But that's because the 10th one I didn't record into that library.
Filthy amateur. Do
you want to do this?
So many recordings.
Do you want to run the radio station?
We were actually talking about... No, I do not. We were talking before the show started about how the R.A.M show isn't really like a themed show. And because he was complaining that we're going to do another adventure book show today. And he's like, well, that's not our normal thing. Well, we don't have a theme. Like, if you watch the R.A.M show or listen to it or whatever, if you consume this form of media or in one way or another, you're just here for us, not for any theme.
Well, I think the difference is that you're right. We don't have a theme, but you doing books twice in a row is starting to form a theme. And I think that's the concern is that now you're starting this trend. It's like, is next time, like, is it going to be another one?
We're going to have to get through this one.
Have to is a really strong word.
We don't know how long
I don't know
if
we have to.
We'll have to get the viewers' feedback, which we have never gotten. We'll have to get
not about the R.A.M show.
Viewer feedback.
Wait, yes we have. From my Illinois friends.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They like the R.A.M show.
We'll have to get some feedback. Okay, so we're going to be reading Broadsides today. That's it. That's the whole title. I don't think it has, like, an author. You know?
I'm sure it has an author. Somebody wrote it.
Lead writer, Adam Strong-Morse.
Thank you, Adam Strong-Morse.
It's a hyphenated last name, Strong-Morse. And then there's also Heather Albano and Dan Fabulich.
Thank you, guys, for giving us content to use and reproduce as our own content because we're not creative.
The full name is Choice of Broadsides, but it just goes by Broadsides.
Yeah, because it's a series of apps that you can find on the app stores that are like Choice of
Dragons.
Yes.
This one's Choice of Broadsides.
Yeah.
Are you ready to become a pirate? So we're going to do it again where Mitchell's the...
Okay, am I still the subject?
You're the adventurer, and I'm just going to be the narrator and kind of give you...
Do I have to be a 14-year-old girl again?
Comments. I don't think you get a choice for this one.
Okay.
We'll find out eventually, though.
All right.
Well, get my reading voice ready.
It's everything's rolling. So take it away whenever you're ready.
And last time we decided that I would try and voice some characters once I know who they are.
Yeah.
All right. Fire the starboard broadside, shouts the captain. Cannons roar as HMS Courageous attacks the enemy frigate. I'm also gonna struggle with some words here because I've played a lot of pirate games. So we'll see how well I do on some of the words. Mm-hmm. As one of the junior officers, really more of an officer in training, you command 3 guns on the Courageous's main gun deck. The gun of the battery next to yours fires, leaping back against the heavy ropes that prevent them from smashing across the ship. Clouds of white smoke billow about as you give your gun crew the commands to ready your battery's cannons. Swab, power, wadding, shot, run out the guns. I'm learning so much about how to be a pirate today. The captain yells out, fire as the guns bear. You give your gun crew orders to load and fire as quickly as they can without waiting for the rest of the broadside. They swab out the bore, push in the charge of powder, push wadding down on the powder, load the shot, push the gun out through the gun port, and fire the cannon. That's a long process.
This is like how it's made.
Can you remember the process? Cannons. That's difficult. With you commanding each step of the process. Swab, powder, wadding, shot, fire, swab, power, wadding, shot. The world turns upside down as the enemy broadside rips through the hole some 10 feet away.
Wow.
As the enemy cannonball tears through the side of the ship, giant splinters of the wood fly through the air. One of the splinters, perhaps a yard long, rips through the stomach of Davies, a sailor under your command. A fragment of a cannonball smashes Fisher's arm, mangling it horribly. Your sailors seem stunned by the carnage, standing in shock, while Davies and Fisher scream in agony. What do you do? All right, you got 4 options here. Option 1, attend to the wounded personally. The safety of my sailors is my top concern. Option 2, give some quick orders for them to be taken to the surgeon in the cockpit, then turn back to my duty in commanding the guns. Option 3, with a gut wound like that, Davies is done. 4, but Fisher can still be saved.
Oh.
I order some sailors to take Fisher to the cockpit, but leave Davies on the deck to die. I need the extra sailors to use the guns effectively. Or option 4, my duty to the ship outweighs my duty to 2 sailors. I ignore the wounded and concentrate on firing my guns as quickly and as accurately as I can.
So this is kind of a...
So let's recap your options. Attend to the wounded personally. Give some quick orders for them to be taken to the surgeon in the cockpit.
Take one surgeon. Take one to the surgeon or leave both.
It just says give some quick orders for them to be taken to the surgeon, and then continue commanding your guns. Or leave Davies but help Fisher, because Fisher only got his arm messed up, but Davies got a splinter right through the gut. Or the last option is just completely ignore them and keep firing.
Okay, so I guess I can't just sit here and contemplate a decision all day, so I actually have to make one. Well, obviously number 1 is terrible because I am not a surgeon. Okay. Like, I could do a worse...
As far as you know.
I'm pretty sure that if I'm commanding the guns, I'm not the surgeon when there is already a dedicated
you're definitely
surgeon.
Not the surgeon.
Right, so I might just do a worse job if I attend to them personally.
But you might look charismatic in front of the rest
and
of
then
your,
we all might die.
Crew.
Then our ship might go down because I'm not commanding it
so
anymore.
if it was me, I would just completely ignore them and keep firing because more people are going to die if we stop.
Okay, so that's where I would choose option number 3.
And also,
I think we can save the one person, and I think it's important.
His arm. The dude's gonna have a hook. He can't even have a hook hand. He's just gonna have a hook shoulder. That's not useful.
Yes, you could go down what do you call it, like a zip line?
Not that great back then. This dude's mangled arm is not. I would just keep firing because if I wanted to one day become the captain of the ship, I'd be a ruthless captain.
No, but see, that's what
I want to be feared and respected.
You're gonna get mutinized on. Okay, if you don't,
they can try.
At least if I try and save one of them, it tells my crew that I at least care about them. Yes. Okay. Save the one person.
So with a gut wound like that, Davies is done for, but Fisher can still be saved. I order some sailors to take Fisher to the cockpit, but leave Davies on the deck to die. Mm-hmm. I need the extra sailors to use the guns effectively.
Sorry, bud.
Jones, you shout, and a master's mate under your command looks at you expectantly. Take a team of sailors, get Fisher to the surgeon. And Davies? Asked Jones. No. Davies is as good as dead. Take Fisher. Now. Jones swallows hard, clearly troubled, but obeys your command. Your gun crew leaps into action and carries Fisher away. Davies continues to scream for most of the rest of the battle before finally slumping into unconsciousness, but you do your best to put them out of your mind and focus on the battle. That's rough.
That's rough.
The entire battle, you had plenty of time to get him back.
I did not anticipate the screaming.
He was alive in the entire battle. You had plenty of time to get him back there.
I think the screaming might have been.
We should take a moment here to establish a few important facts about you. Oh, okay.
Okay.
We're learning.
All right.
In this game, you take the role of a young officer in the Royal Navy of Albion. Hey, that's my brother's college.
Isn't that, college? Albion College?
An imaginary nation rather than England. So Albion is the alternative to England.
Okay.
Fighting battles at sea with Gaul in the time of the Napoleonic Wars. Gaul? Gaul?
Yeah.
But you're not just any young officer. Nobody knows it yet, but you're going to be one of the most famous officers in all of Albion. The Naval Chronicle will publish stories about you. Sailors will tell tall tales of your adventures. One day, if you're lucky, people will write histories about you. Why? What makes you so noticeable? And you have a choice.
I get to be noticeable.
I think this is where you start to build stats. You do have a stat sheet, by the way.
I do, really? Wow.
Name, unnamed, rank, midshipman, seniority, 5 years, age 19. And then all of your abilities are 50%. Do you want me to read the abilities out?
No, it's fine.
Okay, we'll get to those when
That's
they
extra.
improve. So here's your 4 choices. Why? What makes you so notable? My skill in sailing ships, my combat ability, both commanding the guns of a ship with pistol and sword. My leadership, people instinctively follow me. My high birth gives me strong patronage that will ensure that I quickly rise to high command. Okay, so
I don't like anyone who chooses the high birth option.
So
I'm just going to put that out there now.
So you have skill in sailing ships, which I assume would probably get you around quicker if that becomes a mechanic leader. Your combat ability, which is good. You want to be able to be feared, because that covers both commanding the guns of your ship and your skill with your pistol and sword. You don't want to die. That could be useful. Even if there's a mutiny, you need to be able to fight. Leadership, people instinctively follow me. That could be good. Maybe capture another ship, and then people from that ship want to join you. You always got to be able to find sailors if you got Fisher and Davy dying all the time.
Yeah.
Your high birth gives you strong patronage, so that's also good. Gets you to rise up the ranks.
I don't like that
quickly.
option.
Okay,
I don't care
so
if it's the best
which
option.
one?
I would never choose
Okay,
that.
so out of the top 3.
So I think I would have to go with, as student station manager of the radio,
Okay.
I would have to
Leadership
go
it
with the
is.
leadership one.
There it is.
Because I would rather not
Okay,
have to
so
do
your
anything
leadership-
except talk about things and then have other people do the work for me.
You're terrible. Okay, so your leadership skill has gone up 30%. It was originally 50%.
Yes.
Okay, so all of your stats are originally 50%, except wealth, which is 25. So your leadership went up by 30.
Got him.
An officer's most important duty is maintaining discipline and keeping the crew inspired. Even in the face of death and destruction, your leadership will serve you well. What's your second most notable quality as a young officer? Okay, so you get to pick it. Oh, they changed, though. 1, my skill in sailing ships, your combat ability, or my strong patronage within the Royal Navy. So the high birth one has changed.
I'm still going with the sailing one.
So now you want to be able to sail better?
Yeah, because it's more of just like it's all in the brains, man. Not
So you don't
want
to have patronage to the Royal Navy. So you don't really care about the military that you serve.
No,
You don't care about Britain.
no.
That's a good option.
I would like to dissociate them as soon as possible.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that could turn into something cool.
I hope that's an option.
So your sailing ability has gone up 20%.
Got him.
You serve in the days of tall ships. What? You serve in the
Like
days
when
of tall
sails
ships,
were, like, really
dependent
huge.
on the wind. Even a small advantage in sailing can make all the difference. That tells us what you're good at, but you can't be perfect. What's your greatest weakness as an officer? Your combat ability, or I am without a friend or relation anywhere in the upper ranks of the Royal Navy. I have singular lack of patronage.
That sounds like me.
That sounds like you.
That
I was
sounds
instantly
like me.
like,
I
yep.
have no friends and no patronage.
Okay, so that
Let's
has
do
made your
this.
patronage and tact go down 30%. Do you know what tact means? T-A-C-T?
It's like your, I feel like it's some kind of like resilience that you have as a person,
Andy's
but
gonna
I want to
Google it.
search it up because I don't want to
Okay.
have angry
I'll
Facebook
continue.
posts.
You will always have to be twice as able as your fellow officers to receive the same opportunities and respect they habitually get. Did you hear that?
Yeah, and it is sensitivity and like resilience.
Okay, so yeah, that's your. Okay, no, I can't say that in there. You will always have to be twice as able as your fellow officers to receive the same opportunities and respect they habitually get. So people look down on you, and you have to work hard. You know, they just get it.
That's the
just
story
for
of the
being in
hero,
Navy,
though,
but-
is
Oh,
that I
that's
start from
true.
the bottom and then we get
Do you
here.
lead by knowing the correct action or by reading the people around you? Do you sail based on knowledge of technique and expertise or through an able reliance on your sailors? In short, would you say that you are characterized more by your intelligence or more by your ability to make people like you? Okay, so you kind of have like a 1 to 5 scale. Definitely my intelligence, mostly my intelligence, but I'm also likable. A little of each, mostly my skills with people, but also my intelligence. Overwhelmingly my skills with people. So you have a 1 to 5 between 1 being intelligence and 5 being people liking.
I think it'd be like 4 intelligence. Like I'm a big fan of the intelligence thing,
So
but
you
it's
want
like
it to be mostly my intelligence, but I'm also likable.
yeah. Like, do you think I'm
Okay.
likable? Do you think I'm kind
I
of?
think you're extremely likable.
I'm a nice
and you're
guy.
very intelligent. So that does line up.
Okay, so we'll go with
So
that.
let's
one.
go with that.
All right.
Let's see what that does to your stats. Sailing went up 1%. Gunnery 2%. Leadership went up 5. Tact went down 1. Likability went up 5. That's good. Intelligence went up 15. I think.
I like how my tact just keeps going down.
Yeah. So you don't have a lot of resilience.
Yeah.
You're just.
I'm super
You're a
strong,
baby.
but no, it sounds like me though. It's like, I'll be super confident, but one person like says something that turns me down. I'm like, oh man. I'll
This
just
book
walk
is perfect
out.
for you. Remember, you'll do better. Remember you. It's
got
gonna
this.
happen a lot. Remember, you'll. I don't like the word you'll.
like Yuletide.
No, you'll.
Oh, you will.
Yeah.
You'll.
So, and remember, you'll. I don't like that word.
Yeah, it's a weird one to say.
Remember, you will do better as an officer if you avoid situations that strain your weaknesses and pursue strategies that play to your strengths. All right, here we go. This game is set in a fictional world similar to our own, but with some differences. For example, perhaps the ships are crewed by women.
What?
For example, perhaps the ships are crewed by women. You are a young and gallant officer, but are you a young gentleman or young lady? Oh, okay. So this is just what they're saying is historically they were crewed by men, but in this game it doesn't
whatever.
matter. Okay.
Okay.
So this is where you get to pick. I'm a young gentleman, of course, and rather confused by the question. I'm a young lady. The idea of gentlemen going to sea and being exposed to the horrors of combat, it's frankly revolting idea.
It's not just like a simple question, like, are you male, female? It's like it's like over personifying like the women to be like, we must protect the men. We can't let them go on.
It's interesting. I've never seen that approach before.
That's okay. Well, now I feel like I need to be the man because now I need to be like the hypersensitive one.
So let's go with
because now I'm out of place. Now I'm the guy leading when normally it'd be a woman.
Okay, so you are now a male. I don't think that changed any of your stats. Of course, the officers and crew of a Royal Navy ship are all men. Let's move on. Oh, you see, you had to feed them the opportunity.
It's like, if you want.
Ooh, all right, this is an interesting choice.
Okay.
You are about 19 years old now. When did you first go to sea as a midshipman? When I was 3, when I was 10, when I was 13, or when I was 16. Now, I think this is one of those ones where it could come with like an unforeseen consequence because you would be like, okay, of course I want to say that it was when I was younger because then I'd have more experience, but it might have some sort of consequence.
Because maybe it's like on land.
Okay, how did you become a midshipman when you were 3? What were you doing when you were 3?
Maybe my.
You can't even walk. Okay, you could walk at 3.
Yeah. Maybe I helped like swab the cannons,
No,
like instead of a binky, they just gave me like a big cloth and I just like threw it at the cannons.
I cannot imagine a 3-year-old on board.
Then I'm going with 3-year-old. That's my answer.
You would get scurvy.
Well, that's a vitamin deficiency. That's not just an age thing. I mean, I guess at 3 I'd be more susceptible to vitamin deficiencies.
Okay, 3, 10, 13, or 16?
3, absolutely. Just because you doubt me.
This is going to be bad.
I don't like being doubted. I have to show people.
Oh,
What?
This is funny. I knew it was going to be an unforeseen consequence. I understand that you were added to a ship's complement. You were added to a ship's complement officially when you were 3, so you would start accruing seniority. But when did you actually go to sea?
I like this guy's sense of humor.
They got you. So now your options are no, really, at age 3. Or age 10, 13, or 16.
No, really, age 3. I want to imagine little old me waddling around in the midst of battle.
I want this guy to have a great comeback. So you spent years as a ship's boy and powder monkey before you really could serve as a midshipman.
Yes.
Your manners are less polished as a result, but you have much more seniority than many of your fellows, and you have more experience at sailing tasks. There you go. Okay.
See, now I got that seniority that I made up for from last time.
Tact. I think tact went down again. Likability, I think, is
be
still
such a
the
pushover.
same. Your wealth went down 10%.
Well, I guess that makes
20
sense.
yeah, that's
3-year-olds don't make a lot of money these days.
Yeah, that's bad.
I hear it's tough in this economy.
We'll need to know your surname. Smith with a Y and an E at the end. Brown, Baker, or I don't like any of those names.
I'm gonna do Smith because its spelling is obnoxious on purpose, and I'm a big fan of that.
I'm kind of curious what would happen if we did. I don't like any of those.
Well, just press it. I mean,
you can't go back.
Oh, you can't go back.
So we'll just.
It'll probably just like have you like punch in your name or something.
Okay, we'll go with Smith.
That's fine.
A very respectable name in light of your class, of course. What about your given name? Okay, so that was your last name.
Yeah.
Henry, Richard, William, Edward, or Horatio?
Horatio, definitely.
Or am I pronouncing that wrong? Or is it Horatio? Or is it Horatio? Horatio or Horatio?
Whenever I heard it
Horatio.
doing Shakespeare, it was always Horatio.
Okay, good. I'm glad I got that right.
Yeah.
Or your other option, something else? Or do you want to stick with Horatio?
Well, all right. We'll press something else because you wanted to do it last time. So
No. It's all up to you. I think Horatio is a fantastic name.
Yeah.
Horatio Smith.
Yeah, no, it's popping.
Okay.
Go with that.
Let's go with that.
All right.
Sounds like it doesn't sound English though.
Well, it's not. It's Gaulish.
But that's who we're fighting.
Yeah, that's the plot twist.
So you have an English last name.
I had
and
like
a first name.
Yeah, I had like a Moses story, like the Gaul.
This is fantastic.
Like they put my 3-year-old little body in like a little thing and pushed it out to sea, and I got picked up by
the English, and you were raised on ship.
Yep.
We are building our own story.
Got him.
The author,
stop yelling into the microphone.
The authors of this is going to see this and be like, "Whoa, excellent." As the game begins, your officer may be described as follows: Mr. Midshipman Horatio Smith, age 19.
You know me.
And it shows all your stats again. With that out of the way, let's get back to the battle. You've dealt with the injured in a fashion. In a fashion. It doesn't say, it's just like,
you have made a decision.
And now you need to keep firing your guns. But in the midst of all the excitement, what's the next step? Swab the bore, ram in the... Oh, it's a memory thing.
Oh,
we
because
weren't
they said it
paying
like
attention.
10 times. Okay, wait, no. Read it out. I
Swab
think
the
I can-
bore, ram in the powder, place the wadding of the powder, load the shot, run out the gun and fire. I have no idea. So I remember reading... Oh, I don't think I should tell you.
What was the last thing that happened?
I'm going to let you try and figure it out. I know the answer.
You're going to
I'm
let
pretty
me
sure.
suffer alone?
I know the answer because I remember reading it, and I remember reading 3 things at the end, so that would make it load the shot. If you want to go with my choice, or you could go with I have no idea.
We'll go with load the shot. I obviously want to make the best decision possible.
Because I remember reading 3 words at the end.
Oh,
See if
and
you're
so
right.
it was that last.
Shot, you yell. The men under your command ram in the shot and run out the gun. The gun cartridge bounces off the hull of the ship. The gun is ready to fire. You signal the rating to touch the fuse. The rating? The ratting? It's spelt like rating. Signal the rating to touch the fuse to the powder, and an enormous roar erupts. You are thrown to the deck by a blast of smoke, and shrapnel rips through your left arm. You'll live and even keep the arm, but the pain is intense, and your arm is permanently injured. It takes you some time to realize what just happened, but you finally realize that you loaded a second shot in the cannon.
Because you said the last thing you
You
read.
can't blame this on me.
You said the last
cannot
thing.
blame this
I was
on
thinking
me.
about that right before you pressed next. Is that you were pressing the thing that was the last thing you read doing?
No, I pressed the 4th option, and I remember reading 3 words.
Right. So
I
you
must be
but you
remembering it
pressed
wrong.
load the shot. And the last thing you remember was load the shot. Was
No,
the last thing that
I
happened.
remembered
So you
was-
loaded a
was
second
pushing it in the pattern. Okay, well,
That's
we
more than
made a
3 words,
mistake,
River.
and I don't think
Don't
we
lie
can
to
go
me.
back.
Don't lie to me.
No, that's not what I meant.
Be honest
You had
with
to. Okay. Anyways, you can't blame this on me. I was
all your
just giving
fault.
you my advice. I think the best option would have been I have no idea.
Probably.
You just put 2 cannons in it. Hey, shouldn't that be like double?
Why did
powered?
everyone follow me? That's the real question. Probably because I'm such a good leader. They just trusted me.
That's your arm. Your arm is permanently injured.
Ah, well.
It takes you some time to realize that the pressure was so great that the gun exploded instead of firing, injuring you, killing several of your men and disabling the gun. Wow. This was a
Whoa.
critical failure.
This is bad.
I think that was probably the worst option we could have had. You were never formally criticized for your error, but you think the lieutenant commanding the broadside figured out what happened, or at least suspected. That will hurt your career. You've also have to live with the feeling of guilt and recurrent nightmares. Wow. The very first choice.
That got so real so quickly.
Do you want to restart? Nope.
No.
No restarting.
That's that's our
really
choice
bad.
of broadsides. I feel terrible.
I
I feel like I'm
feel
actually
bad.
gonna have nightmares.
That is really
about
bad.
this. I'm gonna have nightmares of the R.A.M show and just feeling like intense
The
guilt.
battle rages on, but finally the Gaulish ship hauls down its colors and surrenders. Okay, I seriously doubt that because we messed up a lot. In the aftermath of the battle, a young midshipman runs up to you. Captain's compliments, sir, and he asks you to report to the quarterdeck. When you get... I need to do more voices. When you get to the quarterdeck, the captain looks over at you. Mr. Smith, I'm rating you as an acting lieutenant. Take a section of 20 men across to the prize and assume command. Make any necessary repairs and set sail for an Albionish port. Aye, aye, sir. Thank you, sir. You quickly gather your men and head across to on your first command. So you just got your own ship.
Sweet.
You're taking over the Gaulish ship, and all he told you was to go to an Albany.
Time to mutinize. Time to join
As
the
you
Gaul.
prepare to leave Courageous, you run into Mr. Bryce, the spelt Brysce, if anyone's interested, the second lieutenant. Well, acting Lieutenant Smith, he says, grinning widely and slapping you on the back. I know you'll do smashingly with your first command. I have the utmost confidence in you. I expected him to be a bit of a... I can't say that on air. Thank you, sir, you reply, touching your hat and salute. Oh, you have a hat.
Of course,
That's a
I have a
fun
hat.
little
I'm a
sign,
pirate with my pirate hat.
You're not a pirate. Right now, you're just...
I'm a good guy pirate.
No.
I still wanna be a pirate.
You're
I'm a good
naval
guy.
officer.
Pirate.
Just at the moment, First Lieutenant Piggott rounds the corner. Mr. Smith, he remarks somewhat stiflingly. Fine piece of luck you've had.
Thanks.
Piggott, with over 25 years' experience, is by far the most senior lieutenant on board, perhaps in the whole fleet, but it's not to his credit. He's too incompetent to earn a promotion to commander.
Oh.
He's watched countless younger, more complimented lieutenants pass him by while he racks up years of valuable experience. All he has to show for it is the power to boss the other lieutenants around imperiously and rarely misses an opportunity. I gotta figure out which one I'm reading at.
So he's bullying me. I feel bad.
Look, I can't keep track of which voice was which. Luck has not a bit to do with it, I say. Bryce counters cheerfully. Well, go on then. Don't want to keep the prize waiting. Aye, sir. I'm going to mess up voices so often throughout this, just to be aware. You make your way across to the prize ship with your detachment of 20 men. You are the only officer, but you have Jones, a master's mate, with you as your second in command. The Gaulish ship is a 36-gun frigate, a square-rigged, masted ship with an ordinary crew complement of some 250 men. Your detachment of 20 will be sufficient to sail the prize, of course. Warships carry much larger crews than similarly sized merchant ships because of the need to staff the broadsides, as well as to have men available for detached duties such as prize crews. And of course, the larger crew size allows for a substantial number of casualties before the ship is incapacitated. The long and short of it is that you can very easily sail the frigate, but your prisoners outnumber you roughly 10-1. That's bad.
That's
you have 200 men.
I'm a good leader, though, so I can make up for all the people that I just accidentally slaughtered.
That's bad. That's really bad. They could just easily take over. You must have some fantastic chains or something. Even taking into account the substantial losses they took before striking their colors. As you arrive, you quickly send some of your men to bring the prisoners below and lock them in the hold, where they'll spend the rest of the voyage. I read that right. Prisoners outnumber you roughly 10-1, so that's 200 prisoners. But they just said it could be 250 on the ship. On a warship, and they lost substantial losses. So they lost 50 men. I guess that is kind of substantial. And then
50 people, and then whatever.
50 out of 250, I guess, is kind of all right.
It's fairly substantial.
But
it's like 20%.
But then your 20 men managed to put 200 people and lock them up in the hold.
They're all they surrendered. They're not fighting back. Because if they start fighting back, they're all just going to get shot anyway. But I'm just saying,
okay, the captain of the Gaulish ship must be on something. A Gaulish officer, no more than a few years older than yourself, approaches you and offers his sword in surrender. He addresses you in Gaulish. What if you recognized what he said because you're secret? Okay, no, it's not mythical. You wouldn't know. You weren't raised by that.
Okay.
His words sound like so much gibberish to you. You were never very good with languages and never really had the opportunity to learn Gaulish, even if you wanted to. I cannot speak your language, sir, you say to the enemy officer. I see. I think I should give him like a really like I don't know what should the accent be, or should it be really like crude and like hardcore?
Well, because all your voice has been crude and hardcore. You have to make it like really like soft.
I'm gonna make all the British guys are gonna be like pansies, and then all the Gaulish are gonna be like hardcore,
okay.
Like
so
marauders.
then give him the.
I see. He responds slowly in Albionish. I speak your language a little, sir. Pardon my misunderstandings? I don't know. It's a random question mark. You nod. Please, sir, continue. I am Lieutenant Villeneuve of the Gaulish Republican Navy. In battle, higher lieutenants were all killed and the captain wounded. I am now the lowest active officer of this ship. I am acting Lieutenant Horatio Smith of HMS Courageous. I have been placed in command of this prize. A slight flash of resentment crosses his face as you use the word prize, but he quickly suppresses it. Yes, I offer you my... I do not know the right word in your language. My parole? My word that I will not seek to escape. You nod. We use the word parole as well. Your word of honor as a gentleman, you mean? Yes, you have it exactly, sir. Do you accept Lieutenant Villeneuve as a parole?
Can I?
Okay. Do you want me to... Okay, reread that.
What are my options? Do I have to?
He's offering you his word of honor as a gentleman that he, I guess, won't escape. I don't know. I'm confused by this.
So, like, am I buying into it?
Your options are, of course, he is a gentleman and would never think of breaking his word. I suppose he's probably less dangerous after giving his parole than in hold trying to escape. I'm not returning his sword, though. Normally I would, but given how few men I have, I cannot afford to. He is a captive and one of the enemy into the hold with him.
Normally I would, but given the size of our crew, I can't afford to. Like, I appreciate the earnestness.
Oh, okay, so parole is he's allowed to walk about the ship
and
be around and have his sword.
Right, so it's like, do we give him his sword?
Or you can allow him to be around but no sword. Or you can just be like, I would, but we're going to have to lock you up because I don't have enough men. Or the other one is just lock him up.
No, this is a very reserved and gentle putting in a prison.
I wish I could accept your parole, sir, you reply, but under the circumstances, it's quite impossible. I have too few men to secure too many prisoners to take the chance. Were you false to your word, the consequences would be too severe. I understand, he replies. Okay, he's understanding. I understand, he replies. Although his tone makes it clear that he does not. To think that I would break my word of honor, though. He drifts on into an awkward silence as he thinks better than continuing. He thinks better of continuing. He fears you a little bit. Jones, you call to your master's mate. Take Lieutenant Villeneuve below and lock him in the hold with the rest of the Gaulish. Aye, aye, sir, responds. He needs like a really chippy, like young voice. Aye, aye, sir. Is that too young?
No, that's golden. It's perfect.
Responds Jones with perhaps a little more enthusiasm than necessary. Jones smiles as he returns to the deck. The Gaulish officer is in the hold, sir. It's nice to know that after all the suffering they put us through and the deaths of good men like Davies. Okay, maybe it's too chippy. It's too chippy, but I'm going to continue. All right, so Jones is going to be a 24/7 happy-go-lucky.
Despite all the casualties, we're doing great.
Can we clip that? Oh, that's fantastic.
MVP's next year.
It's nice to know that after all the suffering they put us through and the deaths of good men like Davies, that they'll get a taste of suffering on the way back to Albion. It can't be too nice being cooped up in the hold without any daylight. I reckon it'll take us a week or two to make effect Albion.
Your choice of voices has been impeccable.
Thank you. Oh, it's getting hot in here, I'm not gonna lie.
Can't get over how excited he was.
A few days later, one of your crew passes the word that Lieutenant Villeneuve has a question for you. Sir, he inquires, may we have some medicine supplies? One of our crew has broken a bone badly. He may die. Your options are provide medical supplies or deny medical supplies. You have simple choices here. They don't really tell you how many medical supplies you have.
So I think it's just like a show of mercy.
Yeah. Are you going to be a merciful captain, or are you just going to be...
I think, again, yeah, in order to... Because I have low tact, right? Let's think about this logically. Because I'm really sensitive, if everyone hates me, they're going to start insulting me, and I'm going to go down instantly.
Yeah. So you have
so
to,
I need people to like me.
Yeah, you have to
I have like a thrireshold, and if I go below that,
okay, so
like,
you want
it's
to provide
over.
the medical
So
supplies?
I got to provide the supplies.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime.
The next several days pass smoothly. You get used to the routine of the passing watches, even with the new experience of commanding the prize ship. The process of trimming the sails, taking your bearings, and setting the course is nerve-wracking. Never before have your decisions been the final word, leading a ship either on a safe and direct course to your destination or towards disaster. But the weather is blessedly easy, with a steady breeze but clear skies, and you go through the process relying on your training and your experience. On the 5th day, Jones comes to you with a disturbing piece of news. I found something below deck that I need to bring... Oh, wait, this is Jones. I found something below deck that I need to bring to your attention, sir. What is it, Jones? We're taking in water in the hold. We'd missed the hole at first because it's beneath the water line. Sure enough, he's right. You order your crew to start pumping out the water. With Jones's help, you manage to patch the hole in time to prevent any further damage to the ship. Why do you think Jones pointed out the damage to you? He did it out of duty. He did it to get on my good side. He did it to save his own neck. I assume he did it out of duty. I don't know why this choice matters, but okay. He did it out of duty, did it out to get on your good side, or he did it to save his own neck.
Based on his voice and how excited he is all the time, I'm going to say he did it just to get on my good side.
Really?
I feel like...
I would imagine him being like 11 or like 12, maybe 13.
Yeah, so he's just like... He's got like this fatherly love thing going on. And he's
so he did
like,
to get on your good side? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why that matters. Perhaps you're right. That's all you get.
Nice.
On the 6th day, one of your men calls down to the deck. Sail to lee. What sort of ship is it? I don't know what that means. Sail to lee. What sort of ship is it? You call back as you search with your spyglass. After a minute, the sailor calls back. She looked to be a Gaulish sloop of war, sir. Wow, these words. A sloop of war. A sloop of war. It's S-L-O-O-P. A sloop of war.
I feel like it's a slew.
A slew of war that presents you with a difficult choice. A slew carries no more than 20 guns, and often fewer. What's more, a sloop's guns will be of lighter weight than those of a frigate. If you had a full crew, you could easily capture her, but with only a prize crew at your disposal, the sloop would have a much greater rate of fire and substantially larger number of men. How do you want to handle this? Engage the enemy sloop directly. Attempt to capture the enemy sloop through a clever ambush. Avoid the enemy sloop. It's not worth risking more valuable prize in a battle that would likely go bad.
Well, this is a radio show. I'm going to be confident, but if we just went at him directly, that would be bad.
I'm going to be honest with you. I say pass it up on this one because you could be potentially risking you might win it, but what are you going to do once you win it? You're going to have more prisoners to take care of. You're not going to have enough people to run it as a prize. What are you going to get from taking it? You're not gonna. You might get some like supplies from it, but you'll probably lose some of your men, and you already don't have enough men to watch your prisoners. I say just avoid it, because you got to play. You got to play like careful. That's what they want to do at the start of games like this.
Yeah.
And books, they want to like challenge you to be overconfident right off the bat,
and just mess everything up.
Get you. That's what we did earlier with the gun. We should have just been like, okay, no, I don't know what's going on.
All right, fine, play it safe, go round.
But I don't want to overly control you.
No, avoid it.
All right.
This is
It
still
takes
team.
some careful sailing, but you escape from the Gaulish slough. When you sail into Chesterport a few days later, you feel an enormous sense of relief to be under the protection of the harbor's mighty guns. The captain that commands the port commends you for avoiding capture by the Gaulish slough. A few months later, HMS Courageous returns to the port, and you rejoin her company. That's one thing I'd like to point out in any like pirateering games. Time is weird, because in most games you go by like days and hours, but in pirate games you go by months. Like if you've ever played Assassin's Creed Black Flag, it goes by like years, because that's how long realistically it takes to sail a ship.
Yeah,
you don't realize that in the game, but like it just took you months. Like we just passed through entire months as if nothing ever happened to your character.
Well, I mean, it depends on how large the body of water is. I mean, like when we had pilgrims coming over from England, I mean, that's we're talking like babies were born on the ship and like we're growing up.
People probably had full life cycles on there. Like people were probably bored and died. And of course, there wasn't a long life, but
So I mean, I feel like I don't know if it's just
strange.
I mean, if they're just like crossing a peninsula or something, it might not be a big issue.
All right, let's finish this page up. You take up your duties as an acting lieutenant with the added confidence from the successful command of a prize ship, not to mention a few pounds of spending money from the value of the prize. A midshipman's share isn't much, but it is still enough to earn you a small amount. Check your wealth. Your wealth went up 9%.
Yes.
All right, we're going to have to cut it there, unfortunately, but we'll be back next time with more of this. I have no clue how long it is, but we'll be back.
Didn't feel it didn't take like several days.
Yeah, we'll be back, and we are going through it a little bit slowly, but we'll see. I think things are going to start to pick up. We had a good amount of action there at the start. So
making those good mistakes, which is
good
solid.
Mistakes with your permanently injured arm that hasn't been mentioned at all after that. That's what they said. They said when it blew up, like it permanently injured your arm.
Well, it probably just like lowers your ability to be in like hand-to-hand combat, because someone punches you in the arm, you're gonna be like,
that might be true. Your fighting's still at 50%. That's the only stat of yours that has been gone completely unchanged. Your bloodthirst is 57%.
That's kind of creepy.
Let's recap the stats before we go. Sailing 79, gunnery 47, leadership 58, fighting 50, patronage 26, tact 21, which is your second lowest, likability 40, honor 43, courage 43, bloodthirst 57, intelligence 66, wealth 19. So your strongest ability is your sailing, and your second is intelligence. Your worst ability is your wealth, and then your tact. But I don't think wealth is really ability. So it's mainly just your tact, and your patronage is bad.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks for listening to episode 12, right?
Yeah,
of the
episode
R.A.M.
12.
Show. We'll have this up on YouTube. We should do like YouTube intros and outros. All right, that's the conversation for another day. People got shows to do.
Thanks again for whoever wrote that, for writing it and giving us content. Thanks everyone for listening. Yeah. Check us out on YouTube. And we'll see you next time right here on 89.5 WAHS Auburn Hills. I've been Mitchell Payne.
And River Tuck.
We'll see you next time.
All will be well. That's the Gabe Dixon Band in 2008.